I never thought the floor beneath our family photos would be the place I took my last breath. July 9, 2025, just after 9 a.m., everything changed. One minute I was folding laundry and thinking about what to make for dinner, and the next, the world shook loose from its hinges. My name is Emma. I am 31 years old, born and raised in a small town in Texas where people still greet each other on their front porches. You should see that town now. Life there wasn't glamorous, but it was fulfilling. I worked part-time at the town library, which is now gone, and my husband Mark coached the high school football team. Our daughter Chloe, 9 years old, cheerful and lively, was our whole world. She had a laugh, wild and free, that could smooth out even the worst day. It was that laugh I remembered in my last moment. We didn't have much, but we had what mattered. Church on Sundays, leftovers on Mondays, school pickups and slow Saturdays. We had routine, and we had love. That was enough. Until the ground beneath us turned into a living, breathing monster. It started like a low growl, almost like a big truck rolling by, but it didn't fade. The walls vibrated. The pictures shook. I remember the sound of a glass falling in the kitchen and shattering. Mark looked at me from across the room, and I saw it in his eyes. We both knew this wasn't just some tremor. "Quake," he said, voice low and sharp. "Get Chloe." Before I could move, the first real jolt hit. The entire house bucked sideways. I stumbled, slammed into the wall, heart pounding like a drum. Chloe was in her bedroom. Mark sprinted toward her, yelling her name. I grabbed the emergency folder from the cabinet, snatched her baby blanket off the couch. Leo, our tabby cat, shot past me like a bullet, claw scraping the tile. Then the floor cracked. It didn't creak or groan, it snapped like a tree trunk under a boot. A jagged line tore through the hallway, splitting the floor wide open. The bookshelf crashed beside me, books flying like startled birds. The ceiling light above the dining table exploded in a spray of sparks and glass. "Emma!" Mark's voice, raw, desperate. I saw him at the far end of the hall, Chloe wrapped in his arms, tears streaking her face. Dust clouded the air between us, thick and choking. I tried to reach them, but the floor gave way beneath my feet. I dropped into darkness, wood, drywall, furniture tumbling with me. My head hit something hard. Pain exploded behind my eyes. I couldn't scream. Couldn't breathe. When I landed, I was twisted in debris. My leg was pinned, ribs crushed, the air squeezed from my lungs. Everything was noise and motion, groaning beams, falling rubble, alarms blaring in the distance. But underneath it all, I heard Chloe cry out. It cut through the chaos like a blade. "Mommy!" I tried to move. To crawl, but my body wouldn't respond. Blood filled my mouth. My vision blurred. Mark was shouting, his voice growing fainter. And still, the earth kept moving, like it wasn't finished with us. My last thoughts were hers, Chloe's wild hair, her hand in mine, her bedtime giggles. I didn't pray for myself. I prayed for her. Just her. God, let her live. Please. Then, suddenly, the shaking stopped. No more rumble, no more dust, no more sound. Just quiet, and floating. I wasn't in pain anymore. I wasn't even sure I was breathing. It was like everything, every noise, every fear, every heartbeat, had been placed gently on mute. I was still, but I was still me. And in that stillness, something else was waiting. I wasn't falling. I wasn't swimming. I was simply rising, light as breath, free from pain, free from weight. It felt like being carried, like invisible arms were lifting me higher without effort or resistance. And just as I drifted up, away from the broken ground and into a perfect stillness, my eyes opened, though I hadn't realized they were closed in the first place. The first thing that crossed my mind, oddly enough, was a conversation Mark and I had just a week earlier. We were on the couch, watching some old clip of the president talking about natural disasters and preparedness. Mark had chuckled and said, if anything ever hits our town, we'd be the last to know. I'd laughed, rolled my eyes. And now, standing somewhere between life and death, all I could think was, he was right. We never saw it coming. I wasn't in the house anymore. Somewhere between the last earthquake tremor and this strange calm, I'd slipped out. Not just out of the rubble, out of everything I'd known. My body. My pain. My world. But I was still here. Aware. Floating above the wreckage of our life. From where I hovered, I could see the house, or what was left of it. Part of the roof had collapsed completely. Smoke drifted from a corner where the water heater must have burst. The front yard was barely recognizable, like the earth had opened its jaws and tried to swallow everything we ever loved. Then I saw them, Mark and Chloe. They were huddled on top of our half-crushed pickup truck. Mark was drenched, shivering, clutching Chloe to his chest like she was the only thing holding him together. His face was a storm of grief. He was yelling my name over and over, hoarse and cracked. And Chloe. She was crying, her tiny fists tangled in his jacket, her face buried against him. Her sobs hit me like lightning. Sharp, piercing. I wanted to scream, to reach out, to wrap my arms around them and say, I'm okay. I'm here. But I had no arms. No voice. No breath. I wasn't flesh anymore, I was something else. Pure awareness. A presence without weight or voice. I just floated there, hovering above my husband and daughter as they sat stranded on an island of twisted metal in the middle of ruin. And yet, for all the horror below me, I didn't feel fear. Or sorrow. Not the way you'd think. There was only peace. Deep, impossible peace. As if all the fear had been drained from me the moment I left the world behind. And for a moment, I remembered, just days before the quake, Mark had been flipping through channels and landed on an old clip from one of the president's town halls. He was talking about disaster prep, of all things. Mark nudged me, laughing. We'd never see it coming, huh? I'd rolled my eyes, grinning. That was Mark. But now, standing in the aftermath of everything I thought was unshakable, those words hit different. We didn't see it coming. But here I was. Not broken, not afraid. Just held. Jesus, because I knew that's who he was, grew quiet. The warmth of his presence remained, but there was a heaviness in the air now, like the weight of sorrow gently settling. These storms, fires, shaking, upheaval, they're not meant to destroy, he said. They're allowed to awaken what's been sleeping. Before I could ask what he meant, the scene around us shifted in a blink. Now I stood in the middle of a city gripped by fire, not the kind that scorched buildings, but a purifying blaze that stripped away everything false. Luxury cars bubbled and melted. Expensive handbags turned to dust. Bank vaults burst open, their coronets dissolving like ash in the wind. And the people, they didn't run. They just stood there, empty-handed, staring at the emptiness where their idols had once been. They trusted in what could crumble, Jesus said softly. They forgot the rock that never shifts. Then, without warning, the vision changed again. Darkness fell. Not metaphorical darkness, real, physical, complete. I stood in the middle of another city, and the power was gone. Not a flicker. Not a blackout. Gone. The streetlights, the phones, the endless hum of modern life, it had all vanished. At first, the city erupted in panic. Sirens. Screaming. Looting. People tearing through grocery stores and gas stations, desperate for control. Chaos. But something was coming next. But then, something unexpected began to stir. A man stepped out of his broken doorway and offered food to a neighbor he barely knew. Families, shaken and scared, started gathering around small fires. They shared stories. They laughed again. And slowly, they began to pray. Not polished prayers. Not rehearsed or poetic. Just raw, honest, desperate words whispered into the stillness. And with every whispered prayer, light emerged, tiny sparks cutting through the heavy dark. Jesus stood beside me, watching it all, his expression full of quiet hope. "The enemy fills the world with noise," he said. "But in the silence, my children will remember how to hear me." He turned and looked at me, his eyes steady and blazing with truth. "This is coming to your nation," he said. "A shaking so great it will feel like the end of everything, but it won't be." His voice dropped to a whisper, rich with love. "It will be mercy. A beginning. A chance to heal." Then the scene changed. I saw myself as a little girl, kneeling at my bedside, praying for my grandma. I'd forgotten in that moment. My hands were small, my heart so sincere. I'd asked Jesus to help her get better. And as I watched from this place outside of time, I saw that tiny prayer rise like a golden beam of light. It pierced through a shadowy figure hovering over her hospital bed. The darkness scattered. Light poured over her like armor. She'd recovered the next day. Back then, I'd thought she'd just gotten unlucky. I never realized heaven had moved because of me. Jesus looked at me with eyes full of fire and kindness. "No prayer is too small," he said, his voice soft but strong, like thunder wrapped in tenderness. "Every word spoken in faith echoes through eternity. You have no idea the battles you win when your knees touch the ground." He stepped closer. "The enemy lies," he said. "He'll tell you your prayers bounce off the ceiling. But I tell you the truth, they strike the gates of hell." I couldn't stop the tears. It was too much, the beauty, the sorrow, the hope, the weight of it all. Something in me broke open. Something I didn't even know had been shut tight. And I didn't want to go back. Not to the noise. Not to the weight of bills and brokenness. Not to the ache that never fully leaves on earth. I just wanted to stay, where love was the air and truth lived in every breath. "Please," I whispered, barely able to speak. "Let me stay. I'm tired, Jesus. So tired." And in that moment, I didn't feel like a grown woman anymore. I felt like a little girl, wrapped in a warm morning, smelling pancakes and sunlight through the window. I just wanted to rest. Jesus reached out and placed his hand gently on my shoulder. It felt like being wrapped in everything I had ever called home. Peace. Safety. Pure love. "My sweet child," he said, his voice warm and steady. "Your love for your family reflects mine. But they still need you. Chloe needs her mama. Mark needs his wife. They can't hear me right now, but they'll hear you. I'm sending you back," he said. "Not to comfort, but to purpose. You'll be a light. You'll tell them what you've seen. Tell them I love them. I'm not angry. But I am coming. And tell them this," Jesus said, his voice clear and steady. "They must prepare, not with bunkers or stockpiled food, but with prayer. With forgiveness. With love." He looked into me, and I felt the weight of what he was about to say. That is the only preparation that will matter when the earth shakes again. He paused. The air around us seemed to still. If hearts don't turn, if pride remains unbroken, great shaking will come again, worse than before. Before the end of September, your nation will feel it. Cities will groan. Foundations will crack. Not to punish, but to wake the sleeping. Tell them. Warn them. Leaving him was like being torn from the source of life itself. I sobbed, a full, aching cry from the core of who I was. "I don't know if I can do this," I whispered. "You won't be alone," he said, and now there was power behind his words. "I'll be with you. Always." Then he touched my forehead. And everything changed. Pain slammed into me like a freight train. First came fire, searing through my chest like I'd been hit by lightning. Then came ice, crawling into every bone, freezing me from the inside out. My body jerked, coughing violently as air and dust and blood fought to return. My lungs screamed. Suddenly, I was back. Sirens. Lights. Voices. "She's back. She's got a pulse, someone shouted. My eyes blinked open. Harsh fluorescent lights blinded me. Masked faces hovered overhead, stunned and wide-eyed. Ma'am, can you hear me? What's your name? Everything hurt, my throat, my chest, my skin, but somehow, I found the strength to croak, Emma. I was on a cot, surrounded by chaos. A gymnasium, turned into a shelter. People wrapped in foil blankets, some crying, others staring like the world had cracked open. A doctor leaned over me, pale and trembling. Emma, he said again, like he didn't believe it. You were pulled from the wreckage. No breath. No pulse. We worked on you for over 20 minutes. He looked away, swallowing hard. We were going to call it. He shook his head slowly. I've been a doctor for over 30 years. I've never seen anything like this. His voice cracked. It's a miracle. And I broke down, not from the pain, not from the cold, not from the trauma. I wept because I had just left heaven. I had just stood in the light, held by Jesus. And now I was back, in a world of alarms and urgency, concrete floors and confusion. The ache in my chest wasn't from dying, it was from returning. Later that day, Mark and Chloe arrived. They'd been found and taken to another shelter nearby. When Mark saw me, he didn't run. He dropped, right to his knees beside my cot, grabbing my hand like he'd never let go again. And Chloe, my heart, crawled onto the cot, curled into my chest like she'd never left. I thought you were gone, Mommy, she whispered, trembling. I thought you were gone. And I held her. I held Mark. I felt their hearts pounding against mine, the warmth of their skin, the weight of their grief melting into the weight of love. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. In that moment, every breath was a prayer. Every tear was a song. And in the silence between heartbeats, I understood. I knew exactly why I'd come back. Not to survive, but to deliver a message. A message not just for me, but for you. For anyone who will hear it, anyone who still wonders if heaven is real, if God is listening, if it all still matters. Listen carefully. He sees you. He sees you when your tears fall alone at night and no one else knows. He sees the fear behind your smile, the exhaustion you carry like a hidden weight, the questions you've never dared to speak aloud. He sees the prayers you whisper in the dark, the ones you think go unanswered. The ones that feel too small, too broken, too late. And he's not ignoring you. He's not disappointed, he's not angry. He's a father. A good one. And right now, he's calling out to his children, not with thunder, not with wrath, but with mercy. With urgency. With love. Yes, the world will shake. Yes, things will fall. Yes, many will feel like it's the end. But it's not. It's the rescue. It's the wake-up call we didn't know we needed. He's not tearing down to punish, he's peeling away the lies we've clung to. The false safety. The endless distractions. The voices we've trusted more than his. He's allowing the shaking, not to destroy us, but to pull us back to what never changes, himself. The rock. The cornerstone. The only foundation that holds steady when everything else crumbles. So if you've ever asked yourself, do my prayers matter? I'm telling you, they do. I saw it, I felt it. Your prayers are not wasted breath. They are not empty echoes. They are light, real, powerful light. In the spiritual realm, they shoot out like arrows of fire, pushing back darkness, striking down fear, shifting the very atmosphere above your home. So pray. Pray like the world depends on it, because it does. Pray for your family. For your children, for your friends, for your neighbors, for this broken, weary world. Pray when it feels easy. Pray when it feels impossible. Pray when you have no words left. You don't need perfect language. You don't need stained glass words. You just need honesty. Humility, a willing heart. Step outside, set down the phone. Turn off the noise. Close your eyes, and just talk to him. He's not far away, he's not hiding. He's closer than your next breath, closer than your heartbeat. He's not waiting to scold you, he's waiting to hold you. Heaven is real. Jesus is alive, and he is coming. Not in fury, but in mercy. To rescue. To restore. To awaken the hearts that have been asleep for far too long. And now, he's waiting on you. Get ready. Not with fear, but with faith. Not with panic, but with prayer. Because when everything else fades, when the ground splits, when the lights go out, when the voices go silent, there will still be one thing standing. Love, and he is love.